Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Gallery with Laura Ali. I am your host, Laura Ali, and today we are going to discuss the Jennifer Crumbley trial, and we're on day 4. And I also am going to try to cover day 4, day 5, and day 6. The cross examination on day 7 and the closing arguments as well are going to be all in one video. So, this is just going to cover leading up to that. It's going to cover the direct examination of Jennifer Crumbley as well. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. I do apologize just at the head of the video because I do have a little congestion and a little bit of a cold. You guys may have noticed from the last video. So I'm just continuing on with the same cold. And hopefully by the time we get our verdict, my body will be healthy and strong and we'll be able to discuss it even further with a stronger voice. So thank you guys again for joining and let's get into it. So we're on day 4, right? So we have the Dean of Students testifying today. What I find very interesting about his testimony, let me just take a little sip. What I find to be very interesting about his testimony is that, did he say he was a substitute teacher? Or did he say he was a substitute dean? I think he said substitute teacher. And it made me just start thinking about, like, can anyone be a dean of student? Like, what's the bar? And like one of my closest friends, she is a English teacher. Or no, she went to school for that, but she's like a elementary school teacher. She teaches 4th grade, I think. And it's like, could she just be a dean of student? Like, what? Like, she has multiple master's degrees. Like, what's the bar? So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. So my takeaway overall from day 4 is the school should have done more, because previously on day 3, the counselor was testifying that, oh, it's not my responsibility for disciplinary actions. I'm mostly there for support of the students. Cool. So what does the dean of students do? Because then when he was testifying, he was saying, oh, I'm there to support the students. Okay, but you're also there for disciplinary. And he did say that. But what rises to the level of disciplinary? Maybe they just felt like because he was drawing guns, he wasn't a violent student, but he was emotionally disturbed, I guess. I don't know, but it seems like they didn't see anything majorly wrong with it. They just wanted to inform the parents, like, hey, you might want to look into this. Like, hey, like, I don't know. It really, and I don't know if I said this before in my earlier videos, but I'm going to say it again. I don't care. Your right to privacy goes out the window, or it should, in a public domain. You're in a school. You don't have a right to privacy. You don't have a right to keeping guns in your backpack. So I feel like everyone should be searched randomly. Like, it should just be random searches. Like, let me just check your backpack. I do. And listen, I'm all about rights. I'm all about privacy. But in a public domain is where it changes. In an airport, you have no right to privacy. And granted, I'm out here in, the greatest city in the world, New York. People get on the subway with God only knows what. But sometimes you come out the platform and you see the police there and they have their table set up just saying, I could search anybody right now. They don't, typically. They're not searching it. I've literally probably have never seen them search one person ever in my life. But they're there, and the thought of they could search you right now maybe will be in the back of someone's mind that has something. I don't know. But even if they just went into classrooms and said, it's search day or something, Like, like maybe that will deter some students from being criminals. I don't know. But it was astounding to me how he testified that during the meeting, so he's meeting with Jennifer Crumbley and the mother and the father, or well, I said Jennifer, excuse me, Ethan Crumbley, mother and dad, and if I'm not mistaken, the dean goes and takes the backpack, Ethan's backpack from the class and brings it to the office. The backpack with the gun. So no one peeked in. No one just, let me just see what's in here really quick. And you're concerned about what he's drawing guns and saying, I think it said kill. I have to look at it again. I think it said something to the effect of killing, though. And I think the school dropped the ball. And listen, I think the school dropped the ball. I think Jennifer Crumbley and James dropped the ball. I think everyone dropped the ball. But it was also because Ethan was a great manipulator. He knew how to just play cool, don't cause too much of a scene, just ride under the radar, don't draw attention. So I don't blame the school necessarily, and honestly, I don't blame the parents, which this is what the whole trial is about, is blaming the parents, saying you did a horrible job. You were wrong. You should have did a better job. And that's why I think as we get through this, we learn more where it's like they did do a horrible job. But so do a lot of other parents that would never think that their kid would commit such a crime. It's horrible what happened. It's horrible. There's no disputing that. What he did was horrible. What he did of murdering these other students, children, teenagers was horrible, reprehensible. There's nothing that will bring them back, and there's nothing that will vindicate him from it. He should be in prison for the rest of his life. I don't want him out in society. That goes without saying. But I don't know. Because I feel like there should have been communication both ways. Now, granted, so this is what the prosecution is saying. The school knew what they knew and told Jennifer. He drew this. He made these violent comments on this, whatever. Well, I think it was just the drawing. Wait, it was two things. I'm blanking now. So it was the drawing and then, he was researching bullets. That's what it was. Those are the two things that they talked about. They didn't talk about him sleeping in class, which I don't know if him sleeping makes him a school shooter. Like, I would fall asleep. Like, when you're a teenager, especially, like, you stay up so late. I don't know what it is about being a teenager and wanting to stay up until, like, 4 or 5 in the morning or something. And then, like going to school. Like, you're exhausted. At least that was me. Like, I was exhausted in school. I wasn't even close to being in school. I was just tired. I would be up all night. Like, I would be on the computer. I was up all night talking to my friends, like just different stuff, up to no good. But I think that is fairly typical. I don't think that's like a one size fits all experience. But I don't know. I just feel like there were signs, but then also there weren't signs. Because it was like typical teenage stuff. And Ethan was manipulating the situation so it didn't also seem as bad as it was. That's my perception after hearing the entire case. That's not day 4 perception. That's my perception on technically day 8, because we're in deliberation at this point. Okay, so let's move on. So we talk about the dean of students, the school dropped the ball. Coworker testifies. The coworker seems very credible, but I will tell you, I don't think that coworker ever liked Jennifer Crumbley. I can tell a coworker that never liked you. She never liked her. And I'm jumping ahead. I think this is I think I didn't stipulate it actually. I didn't like mark it. But I think the male coworker might have been the female coworker that testified first than the male. I can't remember. But either way, I don't think either of them liked her. I thought it was odd for Jennifer to text her coworker, her male coworker, like I think he was her boss, her direct report, and like just texting him like, oh, like this is after the shooting, like, oh, I need my job still, like please don't judge me for what my son did. It's like, damn, like you're worried about work right now. Like if I found out my son just shot up a school like 2 hours later, I'm not thinking about going back to work. Like I'm not going back to work for weeks, months. Like I'm sorry, I probably would tell them, sorry, I can't come back. Like I wouldn't even want to, because I need to figure out life right now. So, and listen, people have bills to pay, people have things to do. I'm not taking that away from her, but that would not be my priority. It just wouldn't. And her, like, I mean, she did say like immediately, like I think it was like a 5 o'clock. I think it might have even been a 3 o'clock, 3:30 text, and he texted her back like 2 hours later, saying like, please don't judge me for what my son did. It's like, what? Like, I, I would, I'm like the text he responded to her with, like, I can't even imagine what you're going through. Um, I'm gonna send you like so and so's number, like which was an attorney. It's like I don't even know what I would say. Like I probably would have left that text on read. Like what? And then they ended up terminating her 3 days later. And I think that was mostly because then they were charged. But that was weird, right? Like I'm not thinking about work. I'm just not. And maybe because I'm just not that dedicated of an employee. I'm sorry, job. Like I wouldn't be thinking about work. Like it takes a lot for me to think about work. And in that moment, in the event that my child has massacred 4 people and injured others and mentally distraught an entire school, entire community, the last thing I'm thinking about is going back to work. I'm telling you that right now. Unemployment, whatever it is, they're going to have to find me because I'm not going back to work. So the fact that she was so concerned with going back to work, maybe she was clinging. This is what her defense attorney is saying. She was clinging to some sense of normalcy. She needed some sense of normalcy to understand or to cope. I guess. Some people, and now that I say it like that, actually, because I do have a coworker who recently had a death in his family, and he was back at work like days later. And me personally, I would have been like, no, but to help get your mind off of things, to help, so maybe, but that's still hard for me to grapple with because I just can't relate, I guess. Um, but also, let me just say this also. I think people that, and I'm not just talking about Jennifer Crumbley, I think in general, people that are very like work focused, in my opinion, are just not happy with their personal life. That's just because I feel like when you're very happy with your personal life and you're very like work is secondary. Like I just go to work to make the money so I can enjoy my personal life even more. That's me. I go to work just to make my money so I can live my life. I think they go to work to enjoy life, which to me I'm not trying to judge anyone, but that is a little bit sad to me. Everyone has to live their life, but I just feel like there's so much more to life than work. That's how I look at it. Like my father would always say to me, and this is about food though, You live to eat or eat to live. And I would always say, I live to eat. And it's the same thing. Do you work to live or do you wait? How does it go? You live to eat or eat to live. So I would live. Some people live to work. That's scary. Listen. I will. I don't think I'll ever understand that. Even as a business owner, even as a, I don't think I'll ever understand how someone can live to work. Like that's what they get up for every day is to go to work. Listen, routine is good. Those things are good to keep you motivated, sure. Listen, put it in the comments if you can help me understand that, please. But anyway, let's move on because I can't, I'll never understand that. So yeah. So on Cross, I mean, I'm just kind of jumping around, but the defense attorney just like the things that she asks about is just like, what are you talking about? So just like it's like she on cross examination, I will say she did not. She wasn't really pushing back on the school admin. I feel like as much, and also the injured parties, like the teachers, like she didn't really push back on cross examination. But with the detective, she was asking like, was there a dog and a cat and a kitten in the house when you performed the search warrant? And then he was like, I don't. There was a dog. I mean, maybe there was a cat. I don't know. Whatever. Like, and it's just like, why are you asking that? Like, and not to mention, this wasn't even in my notes, but it's just what they keep bringing up the cat Dexter. I'm sorry. When your son names his pet after a serial killer, and I love Dexter. That is one of my favorite shows. I love Dexter. But if you're naming at 15, 14, 13, whatever he was when he got the cat and named it after a serial killer, I would have been like, why are you naming your cat after a serial killer? What? I'm going to get you a gun 2 years later? Is that what is happening? So, listen, I'm not all fully on Jennifer Crumbley's side. I think there were a lot of things that I think she was too busy sleeping with her lover and being consumed with work to care about what her kid was doing. Because I would have been like, why are you naming your cat after a serial killer? We need to talk about that. Let's talk about why you're doing that. Because that's a problem. You know? So I think there were a couple of missteps here. Day 4, I think, was somewhat uneventful aside from like the things I mentioned, like the dean of students and the detective. It was the detective was on the stand for all of day 4 and I think even a bit of day 5, if I'm not mistaken, if this is the right detective. But yeah, so that was day 4. So let's just quickly get into day 5. Day 5 was a little bit more eventful because, well, first, like in the morning, the defense attorney goes back to being like, poor me. I'm a one-man show. Toot the horn for a one-man show. I will say the co-counsel she had is completely gone. I don't know where that man went. Where did he go? I don't know where he went. He was there on day 1. And I want to say he was there on day 2. But day 3, he definitely wasn't there. Day 4, day 5. She literally is a one-man show. I think she has an assistant sitting behind her, but that's it. So it is kind of fascinating with that. And then it is kind of funny because the defense attorney is talking about how Jennifer Crumbley isn't an emotional person, but yet we've seen her crying throughout the entire trial. Who is she crying about? She crying for herself? She crying for Ethan? She's crying for the lives lost? The children? Teenagers? Is that? I don't know, but she seems highly emotional. And honestly, I really didn't care to get into her appearance because I feel like, listen, it is what it is. Like, she's in jail. But I will say that is an example as well of her being emotional, right? Because like jail affects everyone differently. It affects everyone differently. I'll say that. And I think she's having her own experiences in jail, and however it's affecting her is physically showing. So I do think she is a very emotional person. But was she emotional about her son? Was she emotional about her husband or her family, her surroundings? In that regard, her family. I don't know. So I don't know. Um, Oh, so now we're getting into the witness who called 911. So he's an odd duck because he comes in immediately. He's like, I'm not taking my hat off. I'm not taking my hat off. Apparently, someone said in the comments it was due to like some light sensitivity. I think it's balding. He's balding. He's balding. Right? Like, and I'm okay. Like, you can bald. My fiance is bald. I don't care, but he's balding. Like, there's no other reason why he won't take his hat off, in my opinion. I don't know. Um, and then when he calls 911, what is it with these 911 operators that they're so rude sometimes? Listen, I understand they have to be stoic. I understand they have to keep their P's and Q's to themselves and handle business. I get that. But it's almost like she doesn't sound like she believes him. She's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You found the car? Sure you did. I was like, what's your name? Okay. Yeah. It's like, I didn't like her tone. I'm very big on tones. So I didn't care for the 911 operator. But the witness is very relatable. I think he's just like a regular person where it's like, I can't believe this is like happening right now. Like what is happening right now, you know? So he found them. And thank goodness he did. Because I think they were about to run. They said Jennifer Crumbley, when she claims it wasn't, or maybe she said it wasn't her. I don't know who's. It was a Facebook message actually, so it had to be her. But she said, "We're on the run again." Like they were on the run. I think they took their $6,000. They were about to be out, homie. So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna do day 5 actually for this video because it's getting kind of long, and then I'll do day 6 maybe separately and day 7 separately. So I apologize if I misled anyone. Because we have to talk about Brian Moleshe. We have to wait. Before I talk about Brian Moleshe, let's just talk quickly. Jennifer Crumbley and James Crumbley, the body cam footage, and you see the police. So yeah, really quick, let's just talk about the fact that they're trying to act like they're sleeping, which is just very funny. It's like, you know, when a kid just like closes their eyes and like they think no one can see them. It's like, even if you're sleeping, we're going to wake you up. We're taking you into custody. Like, did they think they were going to be like, oh, you're sleeping. Let's come back later. Let's not take them into custody because they're sleeping. It's like, no, wake up. Like, I don't care if you're sleeping or not. Wake up. Like, I don't think they were sleeping. They were trying to sleep by the grace of God, but it was over by then, boo-boo. So that was funny. But Brian Moleshe, okay? This wasn't the testimony I knew I needed or that I knew was coming, but boy, did I need every bit of it because the doors that it opened, I did not know Jennifer Crumbley was cheating on her husband. Okay? And listen, I don't condone cheating, obviously, but boy, does it make for some good trial tea. Now, I will say, I do believe her cheating was revenge cheating only because they reference the Life 360 app that was only installed on her phone and his phone. And he would go out to Florida to see his parents. And she kind of alluded to there were other reasons why it was installed. And I guess the prosecution or whoever didn't bother getting into it. But I do believe that Jennifer, I pause, that wasn't a glitch. Jennifer and James both cheated on each other. Now, I think it's funny how the defense attorney, like the prosecution initially asked Brian Moleshe the questions they're going to ask him, and they, on direct, and that was it. They just let it go. The defense attorney is the one that opens up the door to their affair. The prosecution didn't bring up the affair. The defense did. I was like, what kind of defense attorney is this? And then she's there like, I don't care if the door is open. I don't care. The prosecution's like, no, you need to care. And I want to make sure your client knows what this means, what this signifies. Because on appeal, I don't want to hear that she didn't know that this was going to be an issue. I want her clearly stated on the record that she is okay with her affair coming out. And Jennifer Crumbley puts up her hand. I understand. We've talked about it. I trust my attorney, yada, yada, yada. Your attorney's an idiot. And listen, her affair does not make her necessarily a bad mom, but it does build the case of her just like, listen, I'm living my life, boo. Like, I ain't got time to be parenting and all this stuff. Like, I'm trying to live. I'm trying to go to the Costco parking lot. Okay? If I was their employer, I would have been like, okay, that's why you're fired. Because you were over here sleeping with this firefighter on your day, like not even on your days off, while you're supposed to be at work. That was some tea. I was there for all of it. Okay? All of it. And then I'm jumping ahead, but I might as well talk about it now. Apparently, it wasn't just her sleeping with Brian Moleshe. This comes out when she gets on the stand, when Jennifer Crumbley gets on the stand. They were on Adult Friend Finder. They were doing little rendezvous with whoever else on some trips. Maybe they didn't meet nobody, but they were trying to. I was like, Jennifer's about that life, baby girl. She's in there. I was like, okay. Listen, I'm not one to judge, but it was juicy. Okay. So I was there for all of it. Like when they started talking about, so you messaged multiple men and you were trying to meet up with multiple men or multiple people. And I was, tell me more. Tell me more. Okay. And listen, this isn't a funny trial, but the moments that you have of gossip and tea and things to take away from the gravity and the seriousness of the murders that took place of children losing their lives, that's the part where I'm like, okay, it takes a little bit of the heaviness out of it, because it's a heavy trial when the detectives and the teachers and everyone is it was heavy. So to hear more about how she was living her personal life, I think that was the part where it was like, okay, we're getting somewhere a little bit. But at the end of the day, does that make her a neglectful mom? Just because she was getting some, everyone gets a little something. Like, I'm not here to judge how people, whether they were in an open marriage, whether she was cheating on her husband, that's not my business. She's not on trial for cheating. She's on trial for neglecting her son. And she's on trial for involuntary manslaughter, to be specific. So I think all of those things, as entertaining as it was, did it really add to the case of her being a neglectful mother or parent or contributing to the deaths of these children? I don't know. I don't know. But I also think it's interesting how Shannon Smith, the defense attorney, she just is horrible with technology. And she talks about that later in her closing argument multiple times. But just to stay in the moment, she's just like, she can't understand how messages are unsent or deleted. And then the prosecutor's like, listen, I'm not talking to counsel. I'm not responding to counsel. I'm talking to the judge. And the judge has zero control over this courtroom. It's Looney Tunes up in there. Anything goes. Anything goes. Like I said it before, I wouldn't want to be, whether I'm being prosecuted or I'm a defense attorney, I would not want to be in a courtroom where the judge has zero control. Zero. And that's what I saw. So, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. And the judge keeps assisting the defense attorney with clarifying questions. It's just weird. It's just weird. Like she'll say, well, maybe, like, did you mean this? And she'll ask the witness a question. It's like, why are you... I've never seen a judge start asking questions, except for like an Alex Murdaugh trial where it was a judge trial where there was no jury. And like, it's weird stuff. Jennifer Crumbley told Brian Moleshe that his friend, Ethan's Crumbley only friend, offed himself. Why would she say that? Why would she tell him that? And at that moment, I felt like she was guilty. Because, like, why are you lying? And honestly, that's why I said what I said earlier, or in another video. Jennifer Crumbley is Ethan. Ethan is Jennifer. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, people. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. She is her son is her. Why would you say that? Why would you say that his friend offed himself, his one and only friend, when you could have just said he was at a treatment center, he was at a school for OCD, whatever? That was sick. That was sick. And for him to find out with the detectives, I think that's what added to him not trusting Jennifer. The defense attorney's body language is consistently like, she's just arms crossed, like so angry while she's standing up there. And it's just like, lady, get it together. Also, I thought it was interesting because Jennifer Crumbley works for a property management company. She worked as the director of marketing, it was a real estate acquisition company. And I'm just going to say, I am impressed with that. I work in real estate myself. So I just feel like, all right, girl, I see you. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. And then my final question of this video, and I'm going to end it here after this because it's getting a little long and I'm going to split it up. But why didn't Jennifer and James go to Canada? I haven't seen anyone ask that question. Like, if she was going to run, like, if that was the plan to run, right? Why didn't she, like, you're in Michigan. And I don't know geography that well, but I think there is some type of bridge or something that goes to Canada, right? Like, couldn't she just go to Canada and then be out to, like, Europe or something? Wait, why did it do that? What in the world? Why did it? Anyway, could she? And if that's the case, was she trying? I don't know. Because I would have been out, homie, if I really thought that I was going to be prosecuted, which is what it seemed like she did think. Why didn't she leave? Like, genuinely leave. Not just, like, go an hour away. Go to, like, Mexico's really far, but go to Canada and take a plane to Mexico. Go anywhere else. Like, I know Canada probably has extradition, but if she would have got to Canada and then dipped out from there, she might have been good. Like, You know, she could have done it. So anyway, that's my question of the night. Why didn't Jennifer Crumbley go to Canada? So I would love to hear like comments, feedback on that. I do apologize for my congestion still, guys. It's hard for me to talk when my nose is all stuffy, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to try to do, before I leave, I'm leaving on Wednesday. Hopefully we get a verdict by then so I can really give my feedback on that before I leave. And then we'll definitely get into, some more cases. But this was a very interesting one for me. And I'll close it out with this. Is just the fact that there's no clear-cut answer. And I think I'm attracted to trials where there are no clear-cut answers. Alex Murdaugh, before the trial, really, it's like, did he do it? Did he not do it? Charlie Adelson, I kind of knew he did it, but I wanted to hear the evidence. I wanted to get more information. How do you know he did it? And these trials where it's like, this one's very different because you have a parent that you're just basically accusing of being negligent. You're saying she wasn't a good enough parent. And I think I know 10 parents way worse than her that their kids never committed crimes. But hers did, so she's being prosecuted. It's fascinating stuff. It's fascinating stuff. Do you buy your kid a gun when you know they're depressed? Does that make you negligent? Does that make you responsible? I don't know, guys, but that's something to think about. So thank you guys for joining me on this episode of In the Gallery, where we covered day 4 and day 5 of the Jennifer Crumbley trial. I will be back with additional coverage on day 6 and day 7, which covers the direct examination and cross-examination of Jennifer Crumbley, in addition to the closing arguments. So I hope you guys join me for that one. Have a great one. Bye, guys.